I request all the participants to switch on your video. Congratulations to all. A very warm welcome and greetings of the hour to all our revered members of Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. Welcome back to yet another virtual event for World Researchers Symposium. I, Dr. S. Nagarajan, Principal of Surendra Institute of Engineering Management, Siliguri, and Deputy Director of CWSIR, invite you all to join for the prayer come virtual lighting of the lamp to formally inaugurate the World Researchers Symposium 2021.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Share. Sound. Share sound. Play Thank you so much for joining the virtual lighting the lamp. Before moving on to the today's session, let me share a few words about our society, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. As a Deputy Director of CWSIR, it is my first and foremost duty to introduce our society to the forum. Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research, founded by Dr. Smita Tiwari in 2019, and under the able presidency of Dr. Abhishek Pandey. Vision for promoting research and innovation, and targets the mission to strengthen the society with enlightened intellect and wisdom through the specific ideology from the specialized field. CWSIR is a staunch believer that research, creativity, and innovation can only guide the entire fraternity of education to a destiny that can produce good literature, research scholars, national and international patents, a wider perspective to develop and implement feasible definition of living in peace. Believing in team and collaborative work, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research pays heartfelt gratitude to its executive members, state and country coordinators, country ambassadors, board of directors, CWSIR secretariat, and all other governing bodies. Today, we are all gathered here to inaugurate the World Researchers Symposium. And through this symposium, faculty and research scholar can develop a very good networking. The virtual symposium is a wonderful place to network with your peers, faculty, and professionals in your field and other field as well. It builds communication skills and deepens understanding of your field. Creating a poster or presentation builds in many skills, explaining your project and responding to questions with people from different backgrounds helps build oral communication skills and deepens an understanding of your work. And paper presentation and in this symposium are an important part of professional development. And all presenters in this virtual symposium will receive valuable feedback on their work. The presenting your work at a symposium gives you a chance to share your findings with other peers, especially faculty members, staff, and professionals, industrials in this field. An overall symposium like this will provide a valuable opportunity for researchers, industry specialists, and decision makers to share their experiences. I am grateful to the many experts who have come to share their knowledge in this World Researchers Symposium 2021. With a small introduction, we'll move on to the today's agenda. Let's introduce the special guest of today's evening. It is my immense pleasure to announce best brains as chief guest and guest of honor and keynote speakers and in the World Researchers Symposium organized by Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research. It is really great to be witnessing the enlightenment bringing wisdom and an iconic talent together. Let me first invite the guest of honor, Dr. Bob Chott, cognitive neuroscientist, flow state practitioner, to enlighten the session with his words of wisdom. Sir, it is your time. Over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. And this is very exciting. And I'm here, just like a lot of other people, I'm here to also learn in terms of the latest research, because part of my own background, I've always been curious. And I believe that curiosity is what that sparks our drive to discover, to want to know. And in this case, I think every single researcher here has that within them. And I can recall going back to my early childhood and having that same kind of drive. My father was with the U.S. Army. He was career, but he was also an engineer. He was an aerospace engineer. He had actually worked in the 1950s in the ICBM programs, designing missiles, Nike missiles and everything like that. And he was recruited by NASA at that point in time. And there was a rocket. So the United States just came into the space age and everything. And there was a rocket that the very first US astronaut went out into space. And on that, see, what a lot of people didn't realize was that they actually used an ICBM rocket to launch the capsule out into space. And while it was exciting, people thought that it was going to explode at that point in time. But see, that's what drove NASA, that curiosity, wanting to know what was space all about. And the Soviet Union had already done it, had already gone out. So when I look back at that time, in my own curiosity, going back to my childhood, starting back in the 1950s and then also in the 60s, and then throughout my life, I had that innate curiosity to explore and to learn. I spent 8 years in the United States Marine Corps. I was with First Force Recon. I was a police officer. So I didn't take the typical route of somebody going to college and getting their degrees. I explored. I had a curiosity of wanting to know a lot of different things. And then when I finally decided to go after my PhD, the first one in clinical psychology, and then eventually neuropsychology, my dissertation at that point in time, and mind you, I was also in my 50s at that point in time. And I'm going to be turning 70 this year. So back then, going after my PhD as an older person, I still had that curiosity of a child. And so here it is, clinical psychology, but I went outside of the typical psychological parameters to do my dissertation. And at that time, I wanted to know about post-traumatic stress disorder. Since I had been in the military and had gone through and had an understanding of post-traumatic stress disorder, I wanted to look at it from beyond a psychological perspective. And so I was looking at different research papers. I was looking at the abstracts and some of the ones that the presenters here are going to be talking about in terms of their abstract. And I'm sure every single abstract started out with that sense of curiosity of wanting to know. So I went into the area and I discovered epigenetics. And I'm not going to get into talking about epigenetics because that's going to take a whole nother arena to talk about it. But I wanted to look at, is there a factor of epigenetics in terms of post-traumatic stress disorder. So my research and my dissertation actually was on that aspect. So I looked at the transgenerational epigenetic inheritance of post-traumatic stress disorder. And I sought out experts. People had already written research papers, like gone through and read many abstracts in terms of the field of epigenetics and how stress related and cortisol levels. So I was looking at all these things. Then I had also get a deep learning in terms of the field of epigenetics. And that wasn't my arena. I mean, it was psychology, and I also had other degrees in business and in leadership, and I had a bachelor's in physics. So I had like a mixture of all these different areas. So you might say I'm a polymath in that sense, but I was curious. So I deep dove into it. And then eventually I wrote my dissertation, and I decided, there's got to be a lot more to this. I looked at the neuroscience aspect. So I ended up getting my PhD in neuropsychology and my postdoc in neuroscience, and studied in terms of those areas. So I kept expanding because of my innate curiosity. Even to this day, I still have that curious nature, because I think curiosity and my good friend, Dr. Sophie Nubani, she wrote a book on Optimize Your Creative Mindset, and in the I just heard that child. That was really cool. So she had the acronym COURAGE. The C in courage is curiosity. So I think that when I look at the research of every person coming in, they had the courage to go out there, to have that curious nature of wanting to know, because not very many people will even attempt to write a research paper. And it's a challenge, but it's also a gift. So every one of you are giving a gift to the world, something that you discovered in that journey of wanting to know, of being curious. And I was a recipient of many gifts of research papers, and I will continue to be a recipient of that. And I'm just so amazed by the dedication that researchers put into their papers and everything, so that it can benefit many others. And without research, without you getting out there and doing what you've done to help make a difference, where would we be? Where would we be? Because the truth is, through your discoveries and everything, we're able to move forward in the areas of science and engineering, innovation. It comes from research. It comes from challenging the past and the norms of the past to create a new future. And that's what you've done with your research. And I want to applaud every one of you in terms of what you're able to do, and welcome you here. And I'm looking forward to listening to your research, and yeah, so just get out there and deliver, and I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. It was a wonderful inaugural speech. I hope this will be a very great motivation for all the young researcher and other keynote speaker present over here. And with that, I'll move on to the next speaker of today's evening. I call upon Dr. Robert J. Thompson, Assistant Professor, University of South Alabama, USA. Sir, I request you to unmute yourself and share your experience with the researcher present over here.
Namaste. I'm going to, it's going to sound like Dr. Choate, and I coordinated on this because I'm going to be chiming in on exactly what he just said. But I wholeheartedly agree with what he was talking about, because humans are genuinely by nature very inquisitive, and that causes curiosity. The curiosity drives discovery, just like Dr. Choate was talking about. I think that's going to be your consistent theme, just based off of where we stand right now. But I think curiosity is going to be the theme of the symposium. But it's that curiosity and discovery that leads to solving prevailing problems. And that is why Dr. Choate was saying it's so important for your researchers, for you to be out and delving into issues to solve these problems. And it takes a village. It really takes all of us working together to solve complex issues that are, it seems like they're emerging on a rapidly daily basis. There's more and more challenges developing and to be addressed. But the curiosity and the discovery factor that we've been talking about leads to innovation, and innovation drives the marketplace. And so there again, we're making the world a better place in terms of helping societies function better, making countries and cultures come together as one, working together as one. I am so appreciative of this type of opportunity for researchers to get together, to share knowledge, to build upon existing knowledge and add to it, to deliver more insightful perspective. It allows us to disprove lies and support truths. It allows us to delve into these issues, to really get a better understanding of where we are with some of the issues of today. I'm just like Dr. Choate was saying, I'm looking forward to hearing the research that is going to be presented. It's going to be interesting, I'm sure. It's going to be significant, not only to the researchers, but also to those of us that are participating. I have a quote that I wanted to share with you. It's from Walter Gilbert, and it says, "Why do we do basic research? It's to learn about ourselves." And I really think that's what we're talking about today. We want to learn about ourselves. So on that note, I want to thank all of the participants for sharing your knowledge and expertise today, because through your research, it's going to enable us to be better people and better societies. Shukriya.
Thank you so much, Dr. Robert. Especially you mentioned about basic research. Nowadays, people are not concentrating on basic research. I think this is the right forum to speak about basic research to the young people present over here. Thank you so much for your thought-provoking speech. Next, I call upon today's special guest, Dr. Jagreed Hussain Yusuf, President, Nile TV, Egypt. Ma'am, over to you. Dr. Jagreed Hussain. Ma'am, you are not audible. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, Galaxy S6 which
Doctor, can you unmute yourself? New co-host. I think she is having some technical glitches. We'll move on to the next agenda. So before inviting
Is
the
that
other,
fine?
yes,
Unmuted?
ma'am.
Hello?
Yeah, now you are audible. Yes, please, over to you.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you can proceed.
Dr. Rabab Choate, dear guests of honor, Dr. Kandi, Dr. Sufi, it actually gives me a pleasure to address this gathering today. And what I like about it is that it is talking about the sense of innovation, talking about exploration and the enthusiasm in order to bring about ideas and brainstorm, and that is all about it. So it's great to be among scientists and intellectual leaders worldwide, because your knowledge and your skills really matter and will definitely lead to global transformation. Today, actually, I chose a relevant topic, which is what can the media do in order to help researchers brainstorm their ideas, and how can we hand in hand together in order to help people disseminate knowledge, bring their ideas in place. Well, we all know not only the media can bring research to the public, but it can also be a very useful tool to get those ideas heard by other researchers as well. So social media today is playing a very important role in that respect, increasing our sense of engagement and our sense of awareness with the audience. So we all know that researchers do not have tangible things actually to sell. However, it matters their knowledge of what they're going to offer. So mass media is playing a very important role in that respect, shaping the public's opinion and of research, also in providing information and opportunities to educate the public on scientific and also the nature of scientific inquiry. We, as you know, myself in my capacity honored as the chair of national station, Nile TV International is each voice to the world. So we have been promoting those ideas of science and globally. How can we disseminate ideas worldwide? How can we develop this effective media program that can really help us reach the whole world and reach also ideas of scientists and their contributions and pay tribute to those scientists worldwide? So I believe that this can be done hand in hand by making also science quite simple. It's very important that we would simplify concepts, because we know that what really interests the people is a sense of simple information. This is what is really important. And people today, as you know, they are following the sense of science and scientific news very closely, especially after COVID-19 had hit the world. So the idea is how to build on that, people's interest in science, how to simplify the information and disseminate it worldwide. This is what is really important. We know that research is transforming the whole world today, and definitely through your take us into new territories. So thank you through your contributions. I'm glad to research and honor scientists' contribution in this prestigious forum. The world needs researchers like you in order to separate the true from the false and the right from the wrong. So the media definitely can help in making good research cross boundaries. Let us cooperate together, media personnel and scientists and researchers today, in order to bridge this sense of gap between the public and the scientific community. Let us help simplify the information so that it can reach the public more easily. Hence, science and knowledge will become more accessible. I'm really honored to join you from Egypt, from the mother of the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful inaugural speech. On behalf of CWSIR, I once again extend my heartfelt thanks to you for accepting our invitation and grace the occasion. And my humble request to you to stay back and give your valuable suggestion to the young researchers who are going to present their innovative ideas today in this wonderful gathering, so that they will get benefited from your feedback. And I request all the invited speakers to give your valuable suggestions during their presentation, after their presentation is over, so that they will get some kind of motivation. It will give some small steps towards their further research work. So with that, we'll move on to the next session. it is time to invite a set of researchers to present their abstract. Now the session 1, I call upon
Thank you.
Dr. Sujata Singhi, researcher, Mumbai. Dr. Sujata, over to you. And a small instruction to all the presenter over here. You'll be given 6 minutes time. 1 minute you can introduce yourself, and remaining 5 minutes you can speak about your contribution in this selected area. Over to Dr. Sujata.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagarajan. A very warm evening to all of you from India. As the name has been said, I'm Dr. Sujata Singhi from Mumbai. As per my introduction, I'm a bestseller published author, trainer, licensed NLP trainer, a certified life coach, mental and emotional wellness facilitator, and a researchist in sound and music therapy with specialization in Himalayan singing bowls, gongs, and bells. I'm also a nation builder and an empath, being a trainer and speaker for almost 20 plus years and touched over 3 lakh lives in various countries. I've been honored with doctorate from universities affiliated to Harvard and also Cambridge, UK, Indian government with Higher Education Ministry, and recently was honored with the doctorate in humanities for the contribution done towards mental and emotional wellness with the power of sound during the pandemic. Coming further, as the interest shows, I work more with sound and music as a therapy, enabling people to have mental and emotional wellness, which also includes mindfulness and conscious living. The title of the study is Sound as Medicine for Mental and Emotional Wellness. Depression, stress, overthinking, anxiety are associated with a higher risk of disease. So this study places emphasis on mental and emotional wellness, and 51 members were participated in the age group of 45.2 years, and the research was conducted on them. This was done in controlled environment, and as per the research done, we also figured out understanding the epigenetics of the people, understanding the hormonal changes, and also understanding the vibrations and the reverberations with regards to sound and its capacity to enable them to entertain mental and emotional wellness in their being. This singing bowl therapy is extensively used more in the younger generation with behavioral disorders in learning methods to handle their emotion and manage mental health. The scientific facts had established a connection between stress and other anxiety-related disorders through ways that impact together with the psyche and the body. Stress and anxiety have always been a major impact on the immune system of an individual, and it harms the autonomic nervous system by hyperactivation of the sensitive nervous system, also acknowledged as the fight or flight mode. To handle the impact on stress on bodily processes, it is vital to turn on the rest and absorb mode, that is parasympathetic nervous system activity. Major diseases, as we have noticed, are related to stress and mental illnesses, or we could say with regards to emotional not being in a well state. We have seen that stress and anxiety are the 2 major aspects which needed to be studied on. Meditation was induced, and together with systems such as mindfulness meditations, has shown assurance in inducing the relaxation reaction and aiding elevated anxiety and enhancing well-being. The relaxation response in the physical body helps see and observe lower blood pressure and defy the fight or flight response, and start with the parasympathetic nervous system coming in order. As capable as alertness and other meditation systems, maybe a frequent grumble is the time, persistence, and disciplinary necessary to learn meditation. Thus, to a form of relaxation and strain relief that does not need a participant to have a learning curve with regards to understanding the immense deal of obedience required to utilize this potential of meditation, we have used the Himalayan singing bowls, the sounds, vibrations, and the reverberations on the human body to enable them to be in a state of relaxation. The objective of the study was basically to understand sound as medicine and the involvements of sound, which would enable people to understand how without melody, just with vibrations, a person could go, a stressful person could go into a state of relaxation. The reverberations through sound vibration impacts the material body, while the hearing progression impacts the mind. This study aims as the hypothesis is the Himalayan singing bowl, when used as a therapeutic solution for improving emotional wellness and mental health, may facilitate faster relaxation and release of stress when compared to simple relaxation techniques. So being more optimistic, we have studied this particular exercise and experimented live in the past 3 years to understand what exactly happened in their minds, in their emotional wellness, and studied the parameters with regards to their cortisol levels. The scope and the limitations which was noticed at this point of time, that the hypothesis of the singing bowl, when used as a therapeutic solution for improving emotional wellness and mental health, may facilitate faster relaxation and release of stress when compared to simple relaxation techniques. A mixture of sounds which are in different frequencies were administered in the controlled environment. When sound healing is not new, it has been used since ages, bringing in a form of medicine, sound as medicine for mental and emotional wellness was the core of this particular study. When sound is united with intention, which is most significant characteristic of healing, sound vibration can be focused to elevate the body's vibration rate of recurrence.
I'm trying to conclude. Already you are exceeding the time.
Sound healing helped us to take up a number of parameters and methodologies were used in the form of HRV, RMSSD, PPG, SIs, SD, positive effect and negative effect. And it was noticed that this study has enabled the participants to go into that state, and the format which was used, it was in lines with the research done with regards to any medical format. And I would like to conclude with a quote: research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought, as rightly said by Albert Sches. And I thank CWSIR for having given the opportunity to bring about this secret science of sound as medicine for mental and emotional wellness. Thank you so much for hearing me out.
Thank you, Dr. Vijata, for your elaborate presentation on your research work. And before I call upon the next presenter, I would like to give a small reminder note to all the jury members and guest of honor present over here. I request all the jury members, guest and guest of honor to make a remark and grade sheet for the abstract readers during this event. And once the event is over, you are all requested to send your grade sheet to the official email ID, CWSIR.india@gmail.com. And one more announcement to the abstract presenter. You'll be given 6 minutes time. You can take 1 minute for introducing yourself and 5 minutes for your abstract presentation. We are running short of time. Therefore, I humbly request all of you to keep the timing. With that, I will invite the next speaker, Dr. Kusum Kanwar, researcher from Mumbai. Dr. Kusum Kanwar, over to you.
Sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Namaste. And I'm Kusum Kanwar from Mumbai, presently the Managing Director, Kangaroo Kids International Kandivali, and CEO Arab Skills, that's skill training and development for school stakeholders. I work on the premise that children are India's future, and how do we put children at the center of everything while designing for change. So believing that dreams are the seeds of transformation and innovation, what is important? What is the importance of dreaming big and acting on it with the new age mindsets and skills for both children and adults? But today, my presentation is on a case study of Kangaroo Kids, Thakur Village, Mumbai. And there were lots of things that actually drove me to do this case study. And so I would start by saying that children may be India's 20% of the population today, but they are 100% our future. Needless to say that early childhood care is imperative and would be a major understatement. One must also consider the platform of factors accredited to a successful early childhood care and education program. So when the present preschool was put up for sale by the last franchisee owner, it didn't come as a surprise to the researcher that's me. Since there were many worrisome reports of the school, the researcher was first brought on as an independent consult. The first encounter with the preschool, and we took but a brief moment of disbelief regarding how badly the school was run. Now, a school survey arranged and the visitation finalized to meet various stakeholders, that is the owners, the center heads, the teachers, the parents, to understand, gauge, evaluate the real ground level state before taking the final offer. The review was done phase-wise, walking through the school, the physical infrastructure, the entrance and appearance, then the outdoor safety, the conveyance facility, outdoor play area, presentation and display boards, the administrative area, library and reading zones. I have, I have written about it, but because of, this lack of time, so I'm just going through this quickly. Computers for children, and let me just add here that which are not adequate, and because we build up on the computer literacy, it was very easy for the school when the pandemic hit, that we all went online and we didn't even pause learning for a day for children. So the course content and work area, very important, which was a dilapidated state, the doll houses and other such play areas, because we all know the importance of these pretend plays and these kind of areas in school. Also teachers in classrooms. So the classroom setup and hygiene, safety and protection equipment, the wall exhibits which did not have relevant information, outdated teaching practices, learning as well, and my interaction with teachers, we found no consistency in the flow of the provided curriculum. Leadership was another big area to explore. Meeting with parents and parental beliefs, again, was important. Learning ecosystems, school leadership management, as I told you. Parental beliefs, I would like to just talk about it. What the researcher, what I gathered through my educational journey as a principal and head of schools, is to learn about parental beliefs, which was very visibly missing from the school, and which every school should respect to generate model environments for acquiring learning. So there are many simple beliefs and expectations, emerging. But, as a researcher, I summed up what most parents desired from the school, and that, would have to immediately be worked on. So my research questions being, children to be cared for in a safe ecosystem. And this was a promise that required very strong obligation to nurture and grow children to their full potential. Children needed to feel safe and secure and emotionally supported. It's not just the academic or the curriculum delivery, that is required. Children needed to experience success. Every diligent parent is intuitively cognizant and substantiated by research that successful experiences have peaceful effect on the mental well-being of a child, reducing distress, anxiety, anguish, or angst, making way for larger triumph and self-respect. I'm so delighted, to hear Dr. Sujata Singhvi as well, talking about the social and emotional, learning through music and sound. So as an educator, I needed to bestow these benefits upon children to develop the contentment of delivering a meticulously wholesome learning and substantially accomplishing the humble expectations of parents. So, so in my mind it was, is it possible to turn around? That was my dilemma. So because this requires, very highly trained teachers who understand individualized attention, differentiated education, learning styles, personalized and inclusive education. And parents hope that meaningful education is the outcome of a series of happy experiences of success. Of course, needless to say, that early education care is imperative would be a major understatement. So one must consider the platform of factors accredited to a successful ECC program. Now, the quality of the means of ECC, that is literature, curriculum, staff, infrastructure, and capital employed. So our journey of turnaround began. The researcher took over Kangaroo Kids, Kandibali, overhauled the entire processes. We engineered the difference with the renewed learning environment against the framework of the internationally acclaimed curriculum. Now, some key factors or ideologies that set us apart. We have redefined our different offering in the domains of service and environment and living curriculum and facilitating its implementation. We have transformed physical spaces, reassessed service standards, and have re-engineered critical stimuli with a single-pointed focus of discovering and tapping the uniqueness of each child within the renowned curriculum. Hands-on learning and care, very important. Each child is important. And we have time-tested approaches backed by an intensively researched curriculum, which is constantly updated. Trained professionals, of course, handling children across learner profiles and behavior patterns, and maximizing student learning and achievement. All activities, events, and even free play directed towards maximizing learning outcomes without pressurizing the children. So we don't believe in the concept of classrooms and hence have modeled our 4 learning zones based on development zones of the human brain, that's physical, social, emotional, cognitive, and language development and cooperative zone. Now, special needs, very important because every child is unique and different, and so is their growth and development process, which is very diverse. So at times, some might require additional assistance in any one of the areas, if not all. That's your physical, your cognitive, gross and fine motor skills, communication, social, emotional, and academics. So we have a first of its kind, we have developed first of its kind of special needs cell within the preschool to counsel children. Now, we follow a conjunction of activity-based learning, play therapy, teaching through learner-based teaching styles, developmentally appropriate teaching strategies. And to ensure that each child is impacted, the curriculum caters to diverse learning styles, incorporating the theory of multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy. We develop most optimum and lowest teacher-student ratios in line with international standards, and professional development, that's ongoing PD workshops. Extracurriculars, dramatic, sports, physical activities are all inclusive now within the curriculum. Special days are also curated. Annual concerts, one would say, is a myriad instrument of learning invented by us, specifically for our children, which are the constructs of this revolutionary thought. And the concert, in its essence, is the culmination of a child's personal processing of all learning that takes place during the year. And this annual performance also presupposes empathy, understanding of people and events in their lives, which is so important for all of us, even during these difficult times that we have seen that this has brought them, really working towards being kind and compassionate with each other. Now, this is what lies at the core of great performances in life, not only as a person, but also as a professional. CSR, even though RTE, the right to education, is not applicable to preschools, but we believe in its significance and have initiated small steps in its vision of providing world-class education to all children. We are providing free education to children of a support staff and also to a few tribal children. So to conclude, we engineered the difference, with the renewed learning environment against the framework of internationally acclaimed curriculum and redefined the service standards in the way education is provided, as well as how relationships are built with the parents, teachers, students. I believe that just like a great dish, great education can only happen when we bring together the right ingredients. So at my school, KK Kids Learning Systems, Kangaroo Kids, we have brought together these ingredients in perfect harmony. And I'm really grateful and thankful to CWSIR, Mr. Nagarajan, and Dr. Roberts and Dr. Bob. It's so beautiful hearing all of you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present my case study. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pusham, for your wonderful presentation. Especially you have mentioned about activity-based learning. I think activity-based learning is the need of the hour, because everybody is teaching online only. We are really missing the hands-on training during this pandemic period. Once this pandemic is over, we need to give a lot of hands-on experience to our younger generation so that they will cope up with the latest technology. Thank you so much. With that, I will call upon next presenter, Ms. Hasna, researcher from Morocco. Madam, over to you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I am Hasna Boushala, teacher in the primary school Tiznit, South Morocco. I have been teaching in primary school for more than 21 years. During all these years, I have been able to collect many experiences that enabled me to be creative in my field of work, and I consider every person I encounter and every student I teach is a new opportunity for me to develop myself, my teaching skills, which made me invent a new method of teaching that I call the self-management method, to motivate the learner to self-learning and to develop the skills of the 21st century. In view of the positive results of this method in improving students' behavior and their excellence in the ability to think critically and creatively, solve problems, negotiate, cooperation, teamwork within the group, and self-construction of knowledge by students. I applied to the teaching project by adopting this method, so I was able to obtain the title of creative teacher from the Moroccan Ministry of National Education, and then I was able to win the title of Global Teacher Awards for the year 2020 from the EKS organization. I am now in the process of writing a book that explains the details of the self-management method and all the foundations and secrets that enable everyone who reads it to reach the same wonderful results. I hope that I have succeeded in communicating my idea. Self-management method is a new method that allows learners to be masters of their own learning, supervised by their teacher. The self-management method is a method that puts learners in the center of the learning process and gives them the chance to be leaderships in the classroom, while the teacher's role becomes influential and hidden in a way that makes learning go in a group and enables learners to develop the skills of the 21st century, represented in communication and cooperation, critical thinking, be creative, be initiative, and be able to solve problems. Self-management method can be applied in all school subjects without exception and gives great results as it develops the personality of the learner and increases his attachment to school and teaches us he has the autonomous learning skills. The self-management method can be applied in a regular class as it gives impressive results in a class equipped with information and communication technology. This method works with the principle of learning better than education. The self-management method respects the learning style of each learner and the paths of individual learning as it collects learning through a collective building. It encourages learners to have a basic self-understanding, then a collective understanding that is more established. The strange thing is that it gives great results, even with students with autism. We, a group of professors who started applying the method of self-management, are able to see how learners become motivated to learn even the most complex mathematical concepts. In our view, according to the method of self-management, the teacher's place is no longer in front of the blackboard for explanation, but behind the learners to push them towards success, to achieve self-understanding. So instead of being the hero of the play, he becomes the director of a successful learning. The self-management method enables students to acquire the skills of managing themselves and their time, enables them to take initiative, and enables them to educate on values and the ability to choose. They enable them to establish the foundations of coexistence and the respect for the opinion and the other opinion, as they are constantly trained in critical thinking and creative thinking. They learn that the most important thing is to succeed within the group and understand each other. And they master through daily training the art of democracy, where the majority decides and respects the opinion of the minority. Learners are trained to agree on the rules of conduct for life in the classroom and formulate a collective charter that they are committed to implementing, because correct implementation means success in the task. In the style of self-management, I focus on two important types of learning, which are emotional and social learning, because communication between learners, despite differences, make negative phenomena disappear, such as violence, control, love of ownership, and selfishness. What motivates them to respect the value of difference? Our slogan has always been, difference is a great blessing and a benefit without limits. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Next, I call upon Ms. Fargana from Brunei.
Hello. Am I audible?
Perfectly, perfectly. You can go ahead.
Yeah. So good evening or morning from all, from different corners of this world. I'm Farhana Haq, PhD research fellow from University of Brunei Darussalam. Actually, my area of study is literature, English literature. I did my bachelor and master degree in English literature and language. So I am much into the novels and poems, all these things. And I did publish more than 36 research paper on my novel. I did cover all the novels which I read and studied. And also I published 3 books, 2 poem books and on academic book on post-colonialism and anti-colonialism. So my topic, which I will about to discuss, the thing is about the identity crisis, about a novel. The name of the novel is A Passage to India by E.M. Foster. So I will talk about that, and the topic of my paper is it's about the problematic issues of identity formation, race relations, and complexities of colonial discourse in hybrid context. A comparative study between the complex relationship between the colonizer and the colonized in a novel, A Passage to India by E.M. Foster. So this paper or the study will actually present some major complexities between the colonizer of British Raj and the colonized inhabitants in the novel named Passage to India. So throughout this novel, it also unveiled the oversimplified idea that Orientals did depict and the continuous system of constructing to which the recently arrived persons has been subjected for creating colonizers who were all the identical. After that has been dealt with the image of the land and seemed to hostile to the colonizers, combating with them and made their feelings intense about alienation and exile. That means the thing is the colonized people and the colonizer, they can't, merge together. Somehow they have the different, activity, cultural difference. So the people of colonizer and colonized people's behavior and activity, it can't be same and it can't be merged together. It can't be incorporated. So E.M. Forster actually, he presented that how the colonized people felt themselves as alien in front of the colonized, in front of the colonizers. And towards the end, it actually happened that how the colonized people, they felt that it's better to, part, it's not possible to be friend with the colonized people, with the colonizers. So this novel actually portrayed the problematic of making this identity crisis, connecting the race relations and complexities of colonial discourse in dual contexts. The exploration of the text of the novel from a post-colonial point of view revealed the revealed the depiction of the socio-psychological of Anglo-Indians during the period of British Raj. A minute observations of Forster's portrayal of India will be our realization of the psychological dilemma of Anglo-Indians who desire to call India as their home. So to sum up, it's very clear that this novel is clearly defines the premise that friendship can be maintained between the English and the Indians in a colonizer or colonized status. Fielding's criticism of the British imperialist colonizers, of the racism and of the fear they base their regime upon is clearly evident in the novel, based on inequality and racism. So the towards the end of this novel, all the characters, especially the main protagonist, Mr. Aziz, who is a doctor, he got to know that it's not possible to befriend, and from that point, the writer said that racism and inequality is the main thing between colonized and colonized people. So that's the thing in my research I will try to explain. So thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fargana. Can you stop sharing your screen? Next, I call upon Mr. Sunil, researcher from Maharashtra. Mr. Sunil from Maharashtra. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening all of you. I am Mr. Sunil Bakre from Maharashtra, MSc, MA, B.Ed, DSM and PG DEMA, working in a convent school and now in a tribal school since past for 25 years. I am functioning as a CBSE resource person and master trainer, and also CBSE, British Council and Cambridge master trainer for competency-based education for NEP 2020. I would like to first of all thank CWSIR for giving me this opportunity to present my research. My research title is Study the Effectiveness of Using Face Masks in Prevention of COVID-19 and Other Common Problems among the students. So it is a burning problem right now, and as I wanted to create a kind of between the children also as well as the of mass. So when it was a time that about maybe a year back, pandemic was about to approach India, I had a thought in mind to create a kind of awareness in the children's mind as well as in the villagers and the tribal people about COVID-19 and using the mask. So it was a time in of COVID-19, maybe last March, and the spread was about to widen its range in India, and the whole country was about to undergo lockdown and the schools were about to close. So due to this threat of this pandemic to the mankind, in view of the necessary to make the students aware of pandemic, of the coronavirus, and preventing the measures for protection against the infection from the coronavirus, the detailed protocols and WHO specification was studied by me. Apart from that, other useful medical information was collected, and it was decided to conduct an activity for the students so that they can cover their face with a mask, as Indian people were not very much aware to the mask, and even tribal children or even rural children were not able to cope up with this. So I have conducted one activity, and the methodology that I used was, I have used rubber bands, 2 rubber bands, and one paper, that is a tissue paper. So after folding the tissue paper and the rubber bands, I could make a rubber band and face mask with the help of this. And it was very necessary because the reason for this is that at that time there was no any kind of awareness in these people, and there was no TV, mobile, or electronic or social media present because of the remote villages, and therefore the thought ran in my mind of making this mask, and also the awareness can be spread. So the methodology, the rubber band, and that it was a ready to use mask. The main aim was to create awareness. That was the main thing. And then it was a eco-friendly mask. It was easy to dispose, very cheap, and that can be made by any students, for them as well as for their family members. That was the main reason. So this mask was prepared by the students. It was used by the students. Later on, it was observed that the students came back to the school, that is in the month of January, on 4th January to 4th January, the 100 students were observed for the use of this mask, and it was found as the result and conclusion that after 2 months, it was clearly inferred and observed that the students who used this mask were free from the infections, contaminated diseases, or any kind of issues, health-related issues, especially respiratory diseases. As the mouth was covered with the mask, they had a less problems. Wherever, as the students were in the hostel earlier, means before many more years, we found that students used to fall sick as they were in the hostel. But during these 2 months, it was found that no students fell ill, and all the 100 students were very safe from any other diseases, or none of them had contracted the coronavirus or any other type of diseases. So from this, it is inferred that if you use a mask properly, then there is a kind of good protection against the COVID-19 diseases, and it was clearly inferred from the observations and the inference which was found in this type of activity and this kind of research project carried out by me. Thank you very much, Charles Water Society, for giving me this opportunity to present my research. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil. You have given a nice solution for the current situation. Hope this will help us to come out from this pandemic. Thank you so much. Next, I call upon Dr. Jayendra Kumar, researcher from UP. Dr. Jayendra Kumar. Next, I call upon Ms. Niti Jain from Rajasthan. Ma'am, please unmute yourself. You are not audible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah, I would like to share my screen. Please allow me to share my screen.
Just a minute, ma'am. Just a minute. I will make you a co-host. Ma'am, check your screen sharing option.
Yes, I am able to. Thank you. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, perfectly.
Good evening, everyone. I am Nidhi Jain, and I am a researcher. All the respected authorities of Charles Waters Innovation and Research Society, and all the respected jury members. Good evening, everyone. So here I am here to present my research paper I have done along with my colleagues. we group of researchers, Mr. Yogesh Sanavne, Professor Vijay Manke, Ms. Kunda Bachav, and myself have implemented the usage of cloud technology, Google Earth tools in Maharashtra, Bangladesh for teachers and students. So here the story starts from before I tell you in detail about my research project. I would like to introduce myself. I'm a Scientix India ambassador for European Geosciences Union, supported by Ministry of Education of India. Also, I'm Honeywell NASA Space Academy executor. Also, I'm teacher license for Space Foundation USA. I have represented at many of the international workshops and conferences. Also, I have represented India at the GIFT workshop, and there my paper was also selected by the Copernicus, and it was also published there. Yes. So talking about our research paper here, it was on the usage of cloud technology, Google Earth tools in Maharashtra and Bangladesh. And for this opportunity, I would like to really thanks. I'm grateful to Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research for giving this opportunity in presenting my paper here. So basically, to sum up my paper, it sums up significant gain among the teachers and students inculcating the project-based learning in and also the 21st century skills, the STEM education in current style of teaching by using Google Earth tools. So here we will see in further slides also how Maharashtra government initiatives for pedagogical approaches using qualitative and quantitative data here, collection. So this paper examines whether or not the implementation of Google Earth tools resulted in gaining of project-based learning. So we have collected data of various training tools. We have then done the analysis of it and reached the conclusion. So Google Earth is a computer program, and this is primarily used for making innovative projects. And these projects are made, can be collaboratively made by the students and teachers here. And the program, it maps the Earth by superimposing satellite images, aerial photography, and GIS data onto a 3D globe, allowing users to see cities and landscape. This program can be downloaded on smartphone or a tablet using a touchscreen or stylus, and it can be navigated very easily. So the major goal was, we know that United Nations have set out 17 sustainable development goals, and they are the blueprint to achieve more sustainable future. So our focus was on goal number 4 for inclusive, equitable, and quality education for all. Also, the Article 21A says that right to education and compulsory education should be part of it. The traditional project presentation method. So right now I'm using my traditional project presentation. So it actually uses manually, we prepare PPT in groups, and the children, they used to divide the work, and there was no collaboration in preparing the PPT. It was just compiling of the PPT that was done. So the individual engagement was limited. For PPT, they used to download pictures from Google and then use in PPT using computer's memory. But Google Earth creation tool for presentation is more effective than the traditional one. Google Earth has actually helped to improve the students and teachers' comprehension of major concepts and skills, which also help students and teachers gain confidence in their knowledge, supporting the holistic. So these are the major goals which we covered. So by using Google Earth tools, normally the traditional here, also one of the researcher, Kunda Bachav, ma'am, she used to take her laptop to her class. She's a government teacher. She used to take her laptop, and there the students learned the skill how to use those Google Earth tools in making projects. So our main objective was to give experience of Google Earth tool to enable understand the spatial and temporal subjects after Google Earth session. Also to compare the new and old methods of project making, to evaluate participants' perception about the Google Earth tool. Also, the implementation part, we have from last 1 year, we are continuously doing multiple workshops, and we have covered almost more than 9,000 teachers, as well as 2,200 to more than 2,200 students for training. 4 teachers from Nashik, Pune, Mumbai, 1 from Romania, Europe. We all participated here, and we collected data and analyzed it. So during the online training, the students and teachers, they actually got exposure towards the usage of Google Maps, Google Drive, Voyager, and Creation tool. Also, how the project making can be used for a collaborative learning. So here we have the success story from Ms. Corina Sajde from Romania. She has implemented, and her students are really happy after using the Google Earth tools. So she is my student who not interested in traditional group activities, but when we implemented the Google Earth tools, the students, they really loved, they had discussions, and the involvement increased. Similarly, many success stories are there. So the flag bearer of change are students and teachers, 2,200 students and more than 9,000 teachers. And we received many projects. They created the Google Drive link because it is automatically created, and they shared with us. So you're looking at the feedback. So the data which we collected, and we analyzed the data, and we saw that the participants rating for the Google Earth tool project under STEAM approach, for teachers it was 4.5, that the red color bar, and the blue color bar shows the rating from the students. So also we collected the participants' perception about the Google Earth tools project under STEAM approach, how the participants respond to the feedback link. So this was the result. So, so these are the basically the data which we collected, and the analysis was done. So we found that Google Earth tool was successful initiative, and it made more than 2,000 students and teachers. They were engaged completely in innovative project learning. So also there were major advantages of Google Earth tool. First, it made all the students' participation increased. Also, we observed that the teachers, they leverages the life skills. Also, the Google Earth tool, it is appropriate for educational use in wide range of subject areas, not only in one subject. So it is an effective tool for integrating and study of multiple disciplines. It is a great research tool, and it is loaded with a lot of variety of useful data. It encourages creative, critical thinking, problem solving skills, and values through STEAM education. And it can be launched very easily to explore an issue that arises during informal discussion. So these were the results, and these are the inferences where the Google Earth tool has global implications, and it is a very innovative project which can be used in education. So thank you so much, and thank you so much, Charles Walter Society. And actually, I enjoyed listening to all the respected guest speakers and all the authorities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Niti. Next, I would like to call upon Ms. Bhavana from Haryana. Ms. Bhavana?
Yeah. Namaskar, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I believe everyone is here from all over the world. So I greet every one of you as per your time zone. I believe that I first of all say good afternoon to all the respected dignitaries and I must say the mentors and the idols of the future generation, and my co-learners who are there with me presenting their research paper. I, Bhavna Chibber, honored to be a member of this team and happy to present abstract of research paper. Before I start, I must congratulate CWSIR team to conduct this conference and give an opportunity to the budding researchers like me. I am an academician and a lifelong learner. Along with that, this year I have started 24th year in the field of education. I'm a trainer. I'm associated with NCRT. I'm a Microsoft certified educator, Google educator, cybersecurity expert. Along with this, I am here as a lifelong learner presenting my first research paper in front of all the dignitaries. Sir, I want you to allow me to share my screen. Yeah, it is there, sir. Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, yes.
Yes, it's visible.
Fine. So, my research paper, Mrs. Cover, you have focused on tiny tots, but my focal area is how ICT is used for the professional development by every one of us, being a teacher, being a student, being a professional, being a doctor, being an engineer, in whatever profession you are, how the ICT tools are helpful to you. In today's world, the creation of new ideas, discoveries, and innovations happen at a worldwide speed. The most striking and the latest innovation in the field of education and other sectors is the integration of ICT. The educational institutions, administrators, teachers, professionals, corporates, employees are coping up with the suddenly increased demand for information and skills. The application of information technology is concerned with the ultimate goal of connecting people, organizations, and communities to enhance their ability to succeed the rapidly changing nature of computer technology continues to expand the range of resources available for any subject specific learning. Learners must be imaginative, flexible, and willing to renew their vision of learning if they are to fully realize the potential of the technology. So, in this paper, I have tried to include all the professions, being a student, teaching, doctor, skilled labor, engineer, lawyers, businessman. I have tried to collect the information from all these people. My mode of hypothesis was Google form. I have shared the Google form with everybody, and I've collected the information. My research questions was which ICT tool you have used to empower yourself, which ICT tools you have learned to enhance your skills, how many hours in a day you spend learning ICT tools. On a scale of 10, how much ICT tools you use. On a scale of 1 to 10, how effective do you consider ICT communication? Do you do ICT tools help in bridging the gap between generations? Few more research questions are here, which I'm just sharing with you all so that you are able to know. Because research should be very extensive and it should help you to satisfy your curiosity. That's what the Dr. Chort has said, that your research should, your curiosity should drive you, and you will be a good researcher only when you have curiosity in your mind. So questions asked by everyone, answered by everyone, and they have filled in the Google form. Based on this, the major findings were usage of ICT tool in urban area is 78.1%, wherein the rural area is 21.9. ICT tools are being used by teachers during this pandemic. I believe being a vice principal in the school, I know I have trained around 2000 teachers. I'm an ICT trainer also. I'm an ICT teacher, so I've trained the teachers also, and I've seen that how they have changed their classroom scenario, how they have changed themselves. One of the speaker, Hasna, if I could recollect the name, she has rightly said that this is a time where they have to prove themselves as a facilitator. Now the role of the teacher is, and I say everybody that now the teacher is curator. Now the flipped classroom, we need to focus on design thinking skills. Now integrative learning, now NEP is there on the board. Mr. Sunil has shared his views, so everything is there. So first of all, the basic thing is this: we need to train each and everyone for the ICT tools, and this will help you to enhance your professional development. ICT tool to enhance computer literacy skills in younger children. This is the statistics which you can see. Learning ICT tool is easy. I believe you all will second my thought that even before this pandemic, nobody even know that what is Zoom. And the moment the pandemic start, everyone is now master of Zoom. So this is how we learned, and we are now professionally enabled us, and we all are on this platform. Why, after learning this tool, we are sharing our thought with each other. Recommended ICT tools. After this survey, there are a number of tools which they have mentioned that these to enable them to work in an effective manner. Teachers, students, skilled labor, they all have explained and given some tools so that we can share this with everyone else. Last but not the least, I just want to say that integration of ICT into various professions for continuous professional development is an invaluable approach which we need to start it right now, because we have just started with the third decade of 21st century. If we will not start this learning right now, from the rural area to the urban area, everywhere we need to take it to a very effective manner. Then only everyone will be able to take a lead, and everyone will be skilled for the future jobs. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Bhavana. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing your screen. Next, I call upon Ms. Harsha from Jammu. I request all the participants to restrict yourself within 5 minutes. We are running short of time. Please.
Greetings to one and all.
5 minutes.
Greetings to one and all the leaders, all the researchers, and all the, I can say that the education leaders and the researchers and other dignitaries from every nook and corner of the world. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the Charles Walter Society of Innovation and Research, as well as all the authorities to, let me present my views or my research on this platform. Keeping the things in short, because I really, I really know that there's a very shortage of time. I would like to start by, my research paper is basically on whatever I have been reciting. That is the situation of the pandemic. I would like to introduce myself as Harsha Mattu, as a name has already been said. So basically, sometimes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how much it is dark. So whenever in the midst of the rapidly accelerating lifestyle, it is a typical time comes when man considers himself as a center or sometimes as a creator. The nature comes forth sometimes to put hooks on the loose ends to actually meet the boats and to join in. Many times it is extremely complex and will never be truly controlled, like a car crash or such other things. Whenever the man has tried to exceed that threshold point, the vulnerability was created. On most moments, we forget that we are the part of this nature, and there is a delicate balance between the duo. And there is also a certain flexibility up to a point. In many cases, the overexploitation of that flexibility has also caused the life support systems to the collapse. And nature has a habit, has a tendency, it has an old habit to seek balance, and it will always do so no matter whatever we do. So the COVID pandemic, it was an example of one such balance on a positive note to actually tackle the psychological trauma, whatever we are going through, rather than the physiological one. The COVID pandemic was an uninvited guest, and like the other pandemic, it's not just about the COVID ones, but it's about every pandemic which has occurred like after 50 years or after 2 decades or after 3 decades or so, or sometimes like after a century. It's like life was going along nicely as it always has. Then all of a sudden, the whole world got turned upside down, and we looked into the abyss, and it wasn't pretty. So, a worldwide economic meltdown in slow motion at the same time as climate change is gathering speed. We all became trapped in our home just to hope to come out once again soon as the life normalizes. People left the world for a permanent time when they have got it, and life during this pandemic, this situation had been very difficult for many, as the virus which has came into the world, it hasn't just hurt the physical part of the society, but it has also affected the economy and the psychological part of the humans too. And the people, they have become paranoid, and the panic is still spreading. The 2020, it is actually became the year to forget, but it is the one also that we will always remember. Not just this, it also has severely hit the mental status and psychological balance of the people. Aiming to contain the spread of the virus, many of the countries and many authorities, they restrained the social movement, the social distancing, and targeting to flatten the curve of contamination with social distancing. Through this time of containment, the human behavior changed throughout the globe. The emotional reaction to the pandemic was really drastic, followed by the several internal and the external factors. The most experienced conditions was the difference in different personality traits. The media has affected, the economy was affected, and the governmental response was very slow. Influence of the social perception of the pandemic and the psychological outcomes of the scenario were very drastic. The groups who were actually at the increased risk of suffering mostly included the healthcare professionals, because most of the time they are the people who have been denied, because it's the situation in which we are right now. We have seen thousands and thousands of people dying over there, but the people who are actually in the threatening zone, they are healthcare professionals, the elderly, specifically the students. They have been affected psychological at a very greater scenario. The economically disadvantaged group, specifically in the societies which are underdeveloped or undeveloped, and the rural population, and most of the times the psychiatric patients. The stunted mental growth literally gave rise to the fear and uncertainty, narrowing the club of the choices. Stress, depression, unhinged aggression, a breakage of neuropsychological patterns led to the outbreak of mental pandemic and the mass hysteria. Post traumatic stress disorder, the obsessive compulsive disorder, the schizophrenia, anxiety, unusual addiction, whether it is to the drugs or whether it is to the internet or whether it is to the gaming, the psychological vulnerability, it has also led to the social disruption. Moreover, sometimes it's said that an idle mind is most probably a devil's workshop. So it happens in the societal balance too. When violence outbreak came into existence, violence became the key for the everything. But gradually, as the time advanced, the things they started setting to the new normal. So, like it has always said that you can find an oasis only in the desert. The pandemic has taught us many lessons, and many behavioral change has been seen in the world today. The hidden silver lining of the chaos has modified us into the more subtle human beings by waking our conscience. The empathy, the very neglected tool of the empathy, the very neglected emotion of the empathy, which was dumped a long time ago, it has resurfaced. Many organizations adopted empathy as a core leadership behavior in the world, which was already in deficit. We learned afresh to embrace the challenges almost as a way of life. We learned to accept and adapt instead of resisting ourselves. People across the globe rapidly adopted healthier food and healthier lifestyle with a focus of increasing immunity. Focus on oneself became the priority, and the year 2020 had more than its fair share of tough situation. Even in 2021, it's really, on a very, you can say that it is on a gradual pace still. These situations have taught us to be grateful for what we have rather than be remorseful for what we don't. The empathy, the gratitude, they were inculcated into the personality. We have nurtured the relationships and rekindled that a lack of time attitude didn't allow to keep up with. Although the year was a total breakdown, although that time was a total breakdown, but somehow it managed to scintillate the primate beings in us. Many people experienced happiness through spending time with their loved ones, helping the less privileged, and looking within to introspect on their purpose. As life begins to return to the semblance of normalcy, we shall begin again to enjoy the many aspects of our lives which we have missed so much. But we also consider that what aspects of our lives are worth preserving to help us create a better normal for ourselves. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ms. Harsha. Next, I call upon Dr. D.S. Brahmat, a researcher from Gujarat. Dr. Brahmat from Gujarat. I think we'll move on to the next speaker. Mr. Levri, researcher from Indonesia. Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Nagarajan. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Hello, hello.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for this remarkable event. I will read my abstract of research paper titled Changing Paradigm, the Euroboric Model for Creative Unorthodox Paradigm of Administration. Administration should be a new and unique science. Since the earliest paradigm of administration was claimed by Woodrow Wilson, there are no contemporary scientific facts, laws, and theory was discovered or invented in the study of administration. The epistemological phase in building the concept of administration, separating politics from administration, contracting the principle of administration, changing the public administration into public management, governance, and now to the new public governance are paradigms which are still another step, I think, in development of political, economic, and law, not administration. If science is the constellation of facts, theories, and methods collected in current text, then I am the lecturer of administration and also the researchers have tried to contribute one or another element to build the science of administration. So I propose a sense of concept based on the Euroboric model I constructed. Some models such as product models, unity of universe, creative union of opposites by Jung, and creative destruction by Peter, also resilient and adaptive cycle model by Holling, are exemplary past achievement I adopt. Rain bottle model, Mobius band by Mobius Agus Ferdinand, and geometric topology are disciplinary methods I analyze to explain the interacting process of how organization rebound from collapse moment. By linking this paradox model to the Mobius band and rain bottle, I can explain the no-chain connectedness, that the properties of organization can be maintained when moved, bent, stretched, or twisted, without cutting or drawing parts together. The process of Schumpeterian creative destruction is an example by which new technologies replace the old and permeates a major aspect of macroeconomic performance, not only rank growth, but also economic fluctuation of factor market. In 1858, August Mobius had invented his band that can be embedded by knotting and twisting the strip before joining its ends to form a loop. And its boundary is a simple closed curve which can be traced by a single unknotted string. By integrating philosophical talks of Ouroboros is serpent swallowing its own tail, geometric topology, and snake anatomy, I can see that the snake's tail keep moving forward, then it will suffocate the snake to death. Besides, the movement pattern of the tail can be read on Ouroboros stone. As a researcher, I am impressed with the such implausibility of the view that administration be the domain of the inscrutable. This brief narrative provides the empirical foundation for the conception I propose then, concept of Euroboric creative unknown, and by unpacking its model phase of development, I can identify the function of administration concept in driving change in the Euroboric creative unknown model and see the institution behind this structural change. This paper attempts to show a sketch of quite different concept of science of administration that can emerge from the scientific research. So there are some keywords: administration, scientific facts, science of administration, paradox model, crane bottle model, Mobius band, Ouroboros, Ouroboros stone, Euroboric creative unknown model, and I hope there will be science of administration. I am Refri Ardiansah from Innovation and Corporation Directorate, Universitas Pajajaran or Pajajaran University, West Java, Indonesia. Thank you. And tonight, my friend, lecturer from University, from Pajajaran University, join this symposium. Reading from Malaysia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Livry. Next, I call upon Mr. Adil Ahmed, researcher from Tamil Nadu. Mr. Adil Ahmed from Tamil Nadu. Okay, I will call the next speaker, Mr. John D. Brito from Chennai.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Brito. And proceed.
Sir, I will start, sir, my slide now. Slide is visible, sir, now?
Yes, yes, perfectly visible.
Yes, sir. Myself, Mr. John D. Brito, research scholar from Anna University, and the state coordinator CWSIR Chennai, and assistant professor from JNN Institute of Engineering, Tiruvallur. Currently, I am having 5 years of teaching experience, doing PhD in part-time, completed ME at Anna University Regional Center, Coimbatore in Power Electronics and Drives, and completed BEEE at Kalasri Institute of Technology, Krishnagol, Srivilliputtur, and schooling at CMS Higher Secondary School, Srivilliputtur. And this is my UG project, foreground-based reduction in 3-dimensional embedded SOC platform. And PG is robust bidirectional adapter with charging and emergency discharging applications using PID controller. And my research topic is high performance quasi source parallel resonant DC to DC converter for hybrid energy resources. So far confirmation completed. And according to journal publications, so far 2 annexed papers submitted and 2 Scopus paper published, one from Springer and one from Elsevier, and 11 international journals published so far, and 5 international conference presented, and 1 national conference also presented, 1 patent published. So far, I have worked in 3 reputed engineering colleges, and so many technical programs I have participated and completed, and 4 membership I am having till now. And so far, I have received more than 8 awards through Rotary Club of Chennai. And these are all my personal data. Now we will move to our abstract. My topic is virtual reality based hologram food supply management system at the time of flood. And this is my topic. The project is focused to fulfill growing the need of customers. Virtual reality is nowadays considers most emerging and efficient technologies. It is a technology based on computer which assimilates a specialized input and output device by allowing the user to interact with the experience and artificial created environment. If they were in real world, a virtual reality system is allowing the user to search and interact with a 3-dimensional virtual or artificial environment created by the designer. In the virtual world, the user can also think similar to the routine throwing tennis ball or as excellent flying through space. And also, all things can be made to occur only because of hand gesture or node. It is seen by the high end of human interactions, and it has the potential to target a wide range of applications to improve the standardization and automation of disaster operation management. A new method of emergency management based activity network is presented. Initially, the emergency plan is built upon emergency response activities by using activity network topology, while a virtual path may be represented using straight lines connecting waypoints of interest. This simple model does not accurately represent with typical user behavior. We implemented the model within a framework that can be used for redirect food distribution within a different virtual and physical environments. It is useful for the evaluation of redirected of parameters under varying conditions. The characters of each operation mode are analyzed, which provides an important reference for the researchers of the operation and the management of the process food supply chain. In this project, virtual reality is projected from helicopter or far distance. The projected image with the listed basic needs like food, water, medicine. The person needs medicine to stand on that projected medicine image. Then the dispatch section will distribute medicine for them. This is the overall abstract of our project. And let me go for the design. This is the receiver section. And this is the Arduino board with 4 DC motors, one for food, one for medicine, one for emergency, and one for the supply chain. And this is the Arduino controller unit, and this is for our supply unit through converter circuit, and this is our pin diagram through CPI unit, and this is our hologram project, and these are all the requirements we have in our project. And this is the hardware design of our overall model with the virtual reality light source. This is our overall control unit with the 4 DC motors with the battery and Arduino unit. And these are all the reference we have completed for this. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for my sincere thanks to entire CWSIR team for the opportunity to given my entire work. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brito. You can stop sharing your screen. Next, I call upon Mr. Aditya from Himachal Pradesh. Mr. Aditya, over to you. Mr. Aditya, are you there? Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker, Dr. Jahangir Ahmed from Jammu and Kashmir. Now it's time to invite our guest of honor, another guest of honor, Professor Angelo Buss, biologist, Italy. Sir, I request you to enlighten the session with your words of wisdom. Over to Professor Angelo Buss from Italy. Next, I call upon Ms. Rania Lambo, Ministry of Education, Greece. She is the busiest person right now in this world. We can see her face in all of conferences. Ma'am, we are really honored to have you in this forum. I request you to enlighten the session with your words of wisdom. Over to you.
Greetings from Greece, from Athens. Thank you very much for your lovely introduction. I would like to congratulate the Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research about this so meaningful and enriching event about research. And research is the only means by which knowledge can advance. It is solidly based on logic, determination, hard work, diligent method, a careful choice of method for data collection to ensure validity and reliability. Researchers are modern heroes and pioneers. Without them, knowledge becomes a static dogma and loses contact with reality. Knowledge and science have their own ears, arms, legs, and these are all the dedicated researchers of the world. Furthermore, an important issue is the research ethics, which guides these hard workers towards their goals. Ethics sets boundaries and reminds us that the well-being of humanity is served by knowledge and not the opposite. Within this framework, science can contribute not only to the enrichment of knowledge, but the advancement of civilization in general. Researchers also share. They communicate their research, they collaborate with others. So sharing can give great impetus to progress and strengthen the bonds among people who work together for the common good. In the post-COVID era, research, in particular clinical research, is even more important because it can give solutions to the health crisis of the COVID pandemic that humanity is experiencing. Millions of lives depend on this. On the other hand, whenever human subjects are involved, I would like to highlight some important ethical principles that apply, however urgent and serious the current circumstances may be. Social and clinical value. Research should be important or valuable enough to justify asking people to accept some risk or inconvenience for others. Scientific validity. Validity refers to the degree to which a study or questionnaire accurately reflects or assesses the specific concept that the researcher is attempting to measure. Fair subject selection is the first and foremost concern which must be ensured before initiating a research project. Which subjects may enroll in the research is determined by the study's inclusion or exclusion criteria. Vulnerable groups of people. Nowadays, there is an increased concern about vulnerable groups and whether it is ethical or not for them to be used as research subjects. Vulnerability is one characteristic of people unable to protect their own rights and welfare. So vulnerable groups include prisoners, institutionalized students, mentally ill persons, aged people. Something very important, informed consent. Informed consent is the major ethical issue in conducting research. When a person is voluntarily and intelligently and in a clear manifest way gives his consent. Favorable risk-benefit ratio. This principle is related to the Hippocratic be of benefit, do not harm. For research that involve more than minimal risk or harm to the subjects, the investigator must assure that the amount of benefit clearly outweighs the amount of risk. Only if there is a favorable risk-benefit ratio may a study be considered ethical. Respect for privacy. Privacy is the freedom an individual has to determine the time, extent, and general circumstances under which private information will be shared with or withheld from others. Respect for potential enrolled subject. Individuals should be treated with respect from the time they're approached for possible participation, even if they refuse enrollment in the study, throughout their participation and after the participation ends. And this includes respecting the right to change their mind, to decide that the research does not match their interest and will withdraw without penalty. Informing them of new information that might emerge in the course of research, which might change their assessment of the risks and benefits of participating. Monitoring their welfare, and if they experience adverse reactions, untoward events, or changes in critical status, ensuring appropriate treatment and, when necessary, removal from the study. Informing them about what was learned from the research. Respect for anonymity and confidentiality. The issue of confidentiality and anonymity is closely connected with the rights of beneficence, respect for the dignity and fidelity. Independent review, which is a chance to receive feedback from individuals with expertise and perspectives that may not be represented in the development group. And another important aspect of contemporary research is multidisciplinarity, because in our time and age, strict specialization has compartmentalized human knowledge in a way that information started not making sense. Humanity realized that integrating knowledge can achieve much more than putting information in tightly closed boxes. Current problems are of complex nature and require knowledge from many fields such as economic, social, political, psychological. In all probability, problems of the future will be ever more complex. Therefore, multidisciplinarity will be our only choice. Multidisciplinary research is a collaboration that helps scientists approach the same problem in different ways, and as a result, they gain a fuller understanding of the problem. This approach provides real solutions and clear-cut conclusions, free from being considered isolated or partial ones. However, the collaboration among people of different backgrounds requires teamwork, leadership, tolerance of difference and ambiguity, and selflessness. As an educator, I can say firsthand that interdisciplinarity approaches work very well in education too. Children retain information because it makes sense to them, and they find connections which make them more creative and help them leverage the knowledge they acquire in order to autonomously promote their own education. A holistic approach is even more important in the post-COVID world. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Ravani Alambo, for your time and support for making this event a grand success one. Next, we'll move on to the abstract presentation. Now I call Ms. Preeti from Mumbai.
Greetings from us, sir. There is one change, like 3 of us, we are doing together, Nivedita, Preeti and Ruchita. The name is in the sequence.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. Okay.
Yeah.
You can proceed.
Yeah. Just I want to share my screen. Good evening, everyone. Greetings of the day. Myself, Nivedita, along with Preeti and Ruchita, under able guidance of Dr. Seema Negi. We are educators from Sanjeevani World School, Mumbai.
Good evening, members of jury and assembly present. Myself, Ms. Preeti, Ms. Nivedita and Ms. Ruchita are going to present this abstract that is on social emotional impact of online education on learners. As the COVID scenario came into picture, our offline schools, overnight, it turned to virtual schools. Offline education converted to online education. Now, what is happening these days is a lot of health issues which our children are facing. On top of that comes the virtual exams, giving a lot of stress and anxiety to our children, which has led to social and emotional health problems. How are we going to deal with such problems? The pandemic word, when it comes to our mind, it is a crisis which we are facing, after World War II. It has created an emergency, situation and millions of deaths and millions of sufferers around the globe. It's not about just health crisis. Pandemic has affected each phase of life in a spine-chilling way, from trade and commerce to business, from restaurants to entertainment, from education to day-to-day life, each and everything is under crisis. Therefore, this pandemic is not only the health crisis, but also social, economic, and emotional emergency. Now, with reference to this year, 2020 was a nightmare, and it is still in a continuation mode. As schools have been closed, and this pandemic, how we are coping with that, the students, the parents, the educators around the globe. Well, the government, the frontline workers, and the health officials are doing their best to overcome this outbreak. Education systems are trying to continue imparting quality education for all of us during these difficult times. Our students have gone under psychological and emotional distress, and they are not, engaged productively.
We have interviewed more than 400 individuals. 70% of them are either an educator or learners. According to our findings, during this new normal learning for online class, whereas less than 2 hours for fitness, sports, or hobby. More than half respondents claim that learners have developed health issues and they are stressed. It means this figure shows alarming situation. 50% of respondents feel that learners are socially connected and they are happy with online education. However, they miss emotional connect with peers and educators. On the other hand, respondents claim that two-way communication is lagging on this platform. During the online learning, this is an important figure. 75% respondents claim that this online education phase has adverse effect on learners. 75%. Can you imagine? Also, 56% of respondents claim that learners will lose interest if this continues for one more academic year. Do we have any option?
We really need to think of an option. Adaptability is a key to survival. Therefore, we educators, our learners, and parent fraternity have adopted this new normal, this new education system during crisis. But we need to really concentrate on social emotional impact of online education on learners. This impact will definitely play a major role in their holistic development. Eventually, we need to save our future generations from the adverse influence of technology. We need to prepare them for uncertain future. It seems like this is the right time to educate our learners for how to manage the intense feelings like sadness, isolation, anxiety, stress, depression, boredom, and we have to really work on adversity quotient. In today's newspaper, in today's Times of India, 18th April, there was a small article, small write-up about how parents are worried about social isolation and irritation in kids. It's increasing day by day. So we need to really form a strong support system for our learners. Talking about the mental and social and emotional support system, it is essential due to this during this challenging time. It is essential that we have to focus on skill-based learning. We need to focus on social and emotional fitness, social and emotional health of our students. If the school is closed, they are developing stress, anxiety, depression, boredom, and where they will go and speak. So in this pandemic situation, we have adapted the change of virtual learning, but how far the learners are going to survive? Think of their age group. The questions arises here. As all of us, we know that to acquire in-depth knowledge for development and prosperity, one has to do a lot of physical, emotional, mental exercises and experiments. So creative skills, innovative skills, creative arts and social emotional development is equally important. When we look back to the old education system, the Gurukul system, which we used to have, the residential schools and the skill-based learning, can it become a new normal or a blended learning module after COVID situation? So what we recommend in this research, we recommend we need a platform to speak up and interact, not we, the learners need platform. There are many platforms are available, but there are very few platforms where they can express their feelings and thoughts. So the platforms are needed, like this platform as well. We recommend the gatherings on small scale or small unit of residential school, like Gurukul system, skill-based education. It's not about mark-centric versus life-centric. It has to be balanced. We recommend frequent counseling session for kids. We recommend activity sessions to keep learners engaged and relaxing techniques. We at Sanjeevani World School, we are conducting few of this and we are trying to help our learners. Let's help our learners to survive socially and emotionally in this crisis. Thank you so much, CWSIR. Thank you so much for giving us opportunity and creating this platform.
Thank you, Ms. Nivedita, Priti, and Ruchita for your wonderful presentation. Next, I call upon Mr. Mohammad Ashraf from Jammu and Kashmir to present his abstract. Mr. Mohammad Ashraf. Okay, we'll move on to the next presenter, Dr. Asif Ali Malik from Kashmir. Dr. Ashraf Ali. I call upon Ms. Sitalakshmi Balu from Malaysia. Now I call upon Ms. Sitalakshmi Balu from Malaysia. Thinks he's not here. Next, I call upon Dr. Rukmini from Tamil Nadu. Dr. Rukmini, please unmute yourself. Dr. Rukmini, you are here. Unmute yourself. Dr. Rukmini. Doctor. Next, I call upon.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Now you are audible. Please proceed.
1 second, sir. As I told you, the paper is co-authored by Remya and Ajish along with me. So Remya will be, presenting the paper. I request
Okay.
Ramya to start presenting.
Yes, please.
Sorry for the interruption.
No problem, no problem.
Unmute yourself, unmute.
Ms. Ramya, unmute.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, sir. Good evening, one and all. I'm Ramya Veer, research scholar from School of Social Sciences and Languages, Vellore Institute of Technology, India. I'm honored to be here amidst this august gathering. This paper is co-authored by Dr. Rukmini S. and Ajish A.K. The title of the paper is Humanizing the Technology versus Technologizing the Human, a study of technology, anxiety in Ian McNall's Hyderabad days, and Kazuo Ishiguro's Clara and the Sun from a Heideggerian perspective. The journey from humanism to post-humanism has brought many a paradigm shift in the understanding of the universe, drawing academic attention, giving the scope for literary inquiry. This is evident from the work of Isaac Asimov's, Harlan Ellison's, Philip K. Dick, Ian McNall, and Kazuo Ishiguro's discussing at the length of relationship between artificial intelligence and the society. Moreover, many sci-fi movies such as Her, Ghost in the Shell, Ex Machina, I, Robot, I Am Mother, etc. strengthen the aforementioned statement. The paper therefore examines the technology anxiety expressed in Ian McNall's Hyderabad Days and Kazuo Ishiguro's Clara and the Sun that prominently feature artificial intelligences. The paper primarily discusses at length the relationship between AI and the society. Further, exploring the anxieties human characters confronted with AI express, the paper reveals that what it means to be a human living in a technologically saturated society. The bulk of theoretically framework for this article will be Martin Heidegger's thoughts on technology as expressed mainly in his essay, The Question Concerning the Technology. Heidegger's biggest fear when it came to the technology was that we would commit so fundamentally to the project of enframing that would even see human being as a standing reserve or raw material and thereby completely turn ourselves over to the technological super system as a slaves and raw material. The article attempts to develop this theme and Heidegger's overall view on technology as an ontology. This is achieved by applying Heidegger's concept of technology anxiety in the short story of the Jin's Wife in Ian McNall's Hyderabad Days and Kazuo Ishiguro's novel Clara and the Sun. In this space between the post and humanism lies a conflict that plays itself repeatedly in a post-humanist discourse. Is post-humanism simply a continuation of liberal humanism, a humanism 2.0, a recourse in terms of technology and a contemporary theories of information, allowing for the consciousness to be lifted out and uploaded into a machine? Or is post-humanism truly a new field of inquiry, re-evaluating for humanism itself, questioning the viability, desirability, and the expression of the Cartesian self in light of humanism technological advancement? A third possibility also arises. Is post-humanism as an epistemology unto itself, a way in which we choose to orient ourselves to literally apprehend the world? Or could post-humanism be the very descriptive mechanism which Elaine Scarry writing in 1985 identify a discourse that explores technology as a human expression of suffering and pain? In Clara and the Sun, Ishiguro leaves us suspended over a rift in the perspective order of things. McNall in Jin's Wife illustrates a semi-dystopian world merged in the religio-mythological tradition where AIs are capable of transcending the boundaries of space and time. Ishiguro's Clara and the Sun depicts a near-future setting where AIs serve the role of friends and the caretakers. This project supposes that while it is vital to keep the danger AI pose in the foreground, we must not let this obscure or eclipse the potential insight into the saving power of technology that the AIs provide by expressing the mechanism of modern technological ontology to the characters in the novel as well as the readers. Through detailed readings of each novel, I conclude that focusing only on the dangers AI present causes the missed opportunity for the salvation as they reveal. In order to authentically see the saving power, both the danger and the salvation must be learned from the AIs. I thank everyone for listening to the presentation. I thank organizing team for giving the opportunity to present the paper.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya, Dr. Rukmini, and Mr. Rajesh. Next, I call upon Dr. Nishant from Maharashtra. Dr. Nishant.
Hi. Thank you. May I start?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Thank you, Charles Walter, Institute of Charles Walter, Institute of Innovation and Research, to give me an opportunity to present my presentation. Can I have share my screen here? Yeah. So what I'm going to talk to you about is the podcasting, power of podcasting in the startup community. Now, today's world where we are not able to meet physically and we want to start an elevator pitch for the startup, for the people across, let's use the power of podcasting. So before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm Nishant Mehta, a chartered accountant, a serial entrepreneur, a MBA, and a master's in law. I'm also the international partner for Indian World Business Angel Investment Forum. I'm also a podcast host and speaker, HDD, Chopal, ambassador, Rotarian, and a distinguished Toastmaster. The curation of a new wave. If you can see last year, there was a certain thing where we moved to the virtual world. What can be better than a podcasting to start and present yourself and understand the basics to understand, go into the new wave? Do you know what is a podcasting? No. So let me give you a little bit bit what podcasting can create. You can create your own podcast. You can share your thoughts. You can do podcasting for startup. You can start an elevator pitch. Podcasting is steadily increasing in popularity, and every day thousands are either tuning in on an audio podcast or trying to start their own channel. If you look at the growth of the podcast, as per the research of Grandview Research and Company, in 2020, an estimate 100 million people listen to podcasts each month, thanks due to the COVID pandemic. And it is expected to reach to 125 million in 2022. You can imagine the reach podcasting have. Now, the three ingredients when you want to pitch a startup using a podcast is you do a podcast intro with the startup business detail, with the USP of your startup, what the product or the service you're giving. You use an elevator pitch and podcast episode, create what are the USP, what are the SWOT analysis, and then you do a podcasting with your clients and put it on air. Now, my 6-month why podcasting is an elevator pitch for the startups. Audience, your reach is higher. You can directly meet the investor, SME, MSME, and HNI. You create emotions in your story. Sometimes people are not able to express when they have a physical and a video on, but with the podcast, they can create emotions in their own story. And the speech in the content is there for lifelong. You can build up your presence in the startup and investment platform. Audio, your inner voice. Whenever you express using an inner voice, the impact is more powerful and cost effective. And it is so powerful that people will actually hear your story, why you started a startup, what are the products and the services, and it help you out to create a powerful impact. Now, if I was listening to a couple of other researchers and I realized they always want to express and use the virtual world. Why not add podcasting to your utility tool and you can reach many more people? It's very simple to set up your own equipment. You need a good PC or a console. This is a podcast. You need a streaming software. You need a stable internet connection, which is something which everyone of us have it. Now, this is something I set up in my office, a setup, a studio of podcasting. My podcast in Nespot, and once you put it on Anchor, you go into Spotify, Apple, Google, Kuku FM, Ghana, Breaker, and many more channels automatically it goes. So your reach is higher. Creating a podcast is much simpler. This equipment, which I'll show you after the presentation is closed, it is just cheap. It's not expensive. Entire setting of podcast studio will cost you not more than 4,000 bucks, 4,000 INR. The branding tip, you can be creative with your name. Like I use a Nishpod, which is a Nishant podcast. You publish regularly. I do once in a month. You can do it once a week also. You can customize graphic for your podcast brand. You can brand your product on the podcast channel and automatically your brand is visibility increases. Must have for budding podcaster. Good equipment, Consistent schedule, unique branding, activate social media, and a catchy tagline. Podcasting streamline should have a headphone, a mic, a mouse, and this is what you're done. Quick guide on a monetization. Once you build up your channel, even if you're startup, you don't get a funding immediately, but gradually, if you keep on pouring more and more content, you automatically get a chance to become an affiliated or partner on your platform. And the people who are going to get business from your startup will come to you and they'll give you ad revenue. It becomes more proactive in reaching to potential sponsors. A podcast, it is a great way to develop relationships, hard to reach people. Today I'm sharing it here. You never know, I might be able to share it to 100 more and million more people through my podcasting channel. This is an equipment simple to use and not too expensive. So guys, if you want to create your own podcast or share your story everywhere, whatever you're doing in the field of education or social service or humanitarian ground or an innovative product, podcasting is the channel which can many, many places. Thank you, CS, Charles Walter Society for Innovation and Research for giving me an opportunity to present my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nishant. Next, I call upon Dr. Jahangir Ahmed from Jammu and Kashmir. Dr. Jahangir, over to you. Dr. Jahangir. Next, I call upon Ms. Bisma from Jammu and Kashmir.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible, sir?
Ma'am, you are audible. You can proceed.
Myself, Bisma Farooq Sheikh, and I am doing PhD in Department of Psychology, University of Kashmir, and my research topic is pursued parenting as a determinative of self-determination among emerging adults. As we all know that parents play a considerable role in the development of an individual, be it on the physical development, on psychological development, emotional development, social development. They cast holistic and indelible impression on an individual's development. Individuals whose parents provide them emotional warmth and needed support develop an affectionate bond with their parents. They feel valued and accepted, and this boosts their sense of self-worth. Individuals whose parents show involvement and interest in their life affairs and take care of their interests, needs, aptitudes, and aspirations have high self esteem, high well being, greater educational achievement, life aspirations, and overall success. They have lower levels of stress and are immune against various emotional, behavioral, and psychological issues like anxiety, depression, behavioral disinhibition, and drug abuse. Individuals whose parents are too controlling and use coercive disciplinarian techniques and don't provide needed warmth, support, attention, communication, and age appropriate autonomy have low self image, feel worthless, and are vulnerable to various forms of internalizing and externalizing disorders and are even more likely to become suicidal. Permissive parenting either is also linked to various forms of behavioral and emotional issues like impulsivity, narcissism, and low emotional intelligence. During last 2 decades, many research have been conducted on impact of parenting styles or parental behaviors on growth and development of children across ages. However, most of the studies have done on children and adolescents and only few on emerging adults. The present research aims to study emerging adults as they are more mature enough to understand parental perspective from right way. According to self-determination theory, which is the base of our research, humans are basically growth oriented need and they have three universal needs: need for relatedness, need for autonomy, and need for competence. And these are as important as sunlight, water, and nutrients for plants. Environment can either thwart or facilitate satisfaction of these needs. SDT has placed paramount importance on role of parents in psychological need satisfaction and need frustration. According to Ren and Deck, children have a natural tendency to develop towards higher level of psychosocial maturity as they grow older. Parents can contribute to this psychological growth process by supporting children's needs for relatedness, for example, by being warm and responsive, and they can support the need for competence by providing clear guidelines and by giving positive feedback and help. And they can support need for autonomy by recognizing child perspective and by encouraging initiative and providing opportunities to take decisions whenever possible. When parents thwart these very same needs, they can forestall children's development or even increase their vulnerabilities to psychopathology. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bisma. Next, I call upon Mr. Washim Agamat from Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Washim Agamat. We'll move on to the next presenter, Mr. Firdos Agmat from Indore. Mr. Firdos. Now I call upon Ms. Luliana from Romania. And now I call upon Adil Agmat from Tamil Nadu. Mr. Adil Agmat. No response. Mr. Ankush from Maharashtra.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible. Please proceed.
Yes. Thank you so much. Hello.
Yes, sir. You are audible. Please proceed.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Can you make me host? Host?
Now you check your screen sharing option.
Just. Is my screen visible now?
No, sir. Nothing is visible. It's a blank screen.
Okay. Okay. Just a minute. Now my screen is visible.
Your folders, your documents are visible. You have to open and show me the presentation.
Okay, just a minute. I'll try to open this. I think it's take some more time. Okay, so no problem. I'm stop the sharing. Thank you so much. I'm Ankush Gavande, founder of. Am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, all of you. I'm Ankush Gavande. founder of Worldwide Green Project, the member of the think tank of the government of Maharashtra, augmented textbook creator, teacher, global educator, innovative educator, YouTuber, app builder, author. I am worked at ZP School, Mangrulchawala, Taluka, Nandgaon Khandeshwar, District Amravati, State Maharashtra, India. My research heading is online test study is the best. Am I audible, sir?
Please proceed, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. As you can see, currently, schools are closed due to the effect of the coronavirus. So, online test is the great way of students to study in a simple and good way. This activity allows both study and assessment of the student, and the students study regularly. Online tests are routinely sent to students WhatsApp groups. The students of my school as well as students from different districts of Maharashtra took advantage of this initiative. Parents and students responded positively about the initiative through phone calls and messages. Certificates were sent online on May 1, 2020 to students who are solving daily tests through this initiative on their WhatsApp and email. What is the objective of this online test study based initiative? This initiative was taken to ensure that the students continue their studies even though the school is closed. The benefit of this initiative was excellent for both the parents and the students. It was easy to study. Students can also self-assess by self-study. Due to this activity, students started studying every day, and teachers began to respond via phone messages during the corona period. Students began to study in a language that was simple and easy to understand. What is the planning and operation of this initiative? In view of the growing impact of the coronavirus, the administration has closed school and plans have been made for the study from home. So the first student to have an Android mobile, their WhatsApp group was created, and parents who can't handle mobiles were given guidance on that. Discussion were held with the head of the center, headmasters and parents before implementing this project, and other technical friendly teachers friends, and try to bring some innovation in the venture. The following steps were taken to implement this initiative. First of all, how many parents have Android and how many parents have a simple mobile? Then how many parents can handle mobile? Creating WhatsApp group, creating online test from Google Form and testmos.com, sending by test group and solving problems encountered in the solve test, making certificates for students who are solving daily tests, sending certificates to them via WhatsApp and emails. After the completion of the program, the condition was excellent, and the students who refused to study started studying. The students become aware of English reading skills. Parents and students were satisfied that the study was done in a simple manner. Certificates were sent to inspire and motivate these students. The test series was launched in March 2020. Tests were being sent every morning at 9 a.m. The students were then solving it, and after that they were getting the result there, and in the evening, and students were contacted by phone and messages, as a part of the practice, which is not part of the society. The students did not receive the result sheet as the school was closed on May 1. So under this initiative, online certificates were sent through WhatsApp to all the students in my school and various districts who are taking daily tests. This activity is not only for one class, but also for the students of class 1 to 8. So this help other teachers in school, in my school, to pass the test for other students as well as teachers from other districts also send the test to their students. Certificates were awarded to the students under this initiative. Newspapers and news channels took notice of this initiative. Certificates were sent students from the all over Maharashtra. My interview also about this initiative on the news channel gives there are a link in my presentation, but presentation are not seen there. This online test available on my
sir, you can conclude your presentation, sir. Other people are waiting.
Okay, I'm try to show just thank you so much. I'm trying.
Thank you, Mr. Ankush.
Is my screen visible now, sir?
No, again blank screen only, sir.
I think it's visible. It take few minutes.
Yeah, now
okay,
we could see some paper cutting. Now we could see some paper cutting.
Okay. So it's visible. Okay. I can show. As you can see.
Yes.
Now it's visible, sir?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. This is my blog, www.gaundiankush.blogspot.com. There, this online test uploaded there. What is the success of this initiative? Even though the school was closed, the study of the students was not interrupted. The study continued uninterrupted.
Thank you, Mr. Ankush. And now I call upon our guest of honor, Professor Sharif Ismail, professor from Saudi Arabia, to enlighten the session with his words of wisdom. Professor Sharif Ismail, over to you. Professor, are you there? Okay, we'll move on to the third session of the abstract presentation. Now I call upon Professor Dr. Vijay Kulkarni from Pune. Professor Vijay Kulkarni. Next, we'll move on to Dr. Prem from Malaysia. Prem Atis from Malaysia.
Greetings, sir.
Yes, sir.
CWSIR. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. I am Dr. Prem Atis from Malaysia. I am a member of the to us COVID-19 task force, the COVID-19 pandemic that has enraged the global 200 countries plus. In fact, now I am seeing patients and doing this as well. I am an international healthcare professional for past 3 decades in Asia and ASEAN countries. And the research study that we are doing is healthcare and mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic among the youth in 5 countries, Malaysia, Zambia, Nigeria, Egypt, India, looking the youth ambassadors. the 1 minute bio, 5 minutes abstract tool, but with due respect to all my learned friends, I will try to do justice. The healthcare problems in the world, currently the world faces critical problems. COVID-19, well, we all know it. We face shared threat issues, menace that abrupt our health and our economy. We are down to our knees now, and we are bleeding. Let's face it. So I am with the United Nations Task Force in the Sustainable Development Goals, where they say the decade of action in the next 10 years, we have to be answerable to the world. A pilot project took place. The mental health problems in the world, you will be dismayed. 270 million people affected. Today, 2,000 cases in Malaysia, 200,000 cases in India, 1,000 deaths in India, maybe 10 in Malaysia now. Don't you think it's an effect on our mental health? All of us? And the brunt is taken by the youth. So what are they going through? Depression. The mental health concerns are due to the failure of the healthcare system. We were not ready for this. We are still not ready for this. Vaccine is not the silver bullet. We know it. I lost a friend from heart attack 24 hours after the vaccine. Please explain this, my learned friends. It goes on. Yes,